There's a point, 7,000 RPM, where everything fades. The machine becomes weightless, just disappears. And all that's left is a body moving through space and time. 7,000 RPM. That's where you meet it. You feel it coming. It creeps up on you close in your ears. Ask you a question. The only question that matters. Who are you?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Flip here, EUC Chronicles, episode 42. How's everybody doing? It is finally spring. I am excited. The weather has changed. The clouds have gone. We can now get back to some serious writing. And yeah, man, it's just I'm just completely excited. I want to give a shout out to my new subscribers and supporters. Thank you very much for chiming in. Major shout out to all my older subscribers and supporters. You know, you guys are my fam. I will give all my shouts out at the end of the video. I want to get right into this and I don't have much time, so don't worry, the shout outs are still here. I'm just moving them to the end of the video, but we'll get to those in a minute. But what's up, everybody? Thank you guys for supporting my last video, my Zoom thing with Sensei Vegan and Sumaku. Like, it was great having the support. I mean, granted, the star of the show was the V12. It wasn't us, but I just appreciate everybody chiming in and the amount of views and everything that I got off of that. That just was beyond what I thought I was going to get for, you know, just kicking it with my homies, talking about a wheel, you know. So thanks to everybody for that. In this episode, as you already saw the title, I would like to just get into this. Before I got into electric unicycles, as you guys all know, I've been DJing for the past 15 plus years, been in the club every single weekend, you know, and living the rock star lifestyle. And I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm not bragging or trying to sound cool when I say it. It's just trying to, you know, preface what's been going on. You know, I've literally been living the rock star, you know, lifestyle for a very, very long time. A lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you know. And, you know, for a while, that just was my norm. That was just the life I was in. And I used that excuse as, well, I'm a DJ. You're kind of being a DJ, you're kind of a celebrity to some degree on a very small scale. I never let it get to my head, or I never walked around like I was big-headed or cocky or anything. But nonetheless, you live in a world full of access. People want to hook you up with stuff. When I go to work, well, I wouldn't even call it work, but when I would get to the bars and stuff like that, I didn't have to pay for drinks. I didn't have to buy drinks for my friends. I can go behind the bar and make my own drinks. That's usually what I did when I DJed. I didn't go to the bar and ask them to make some. I would walk behind the bar, go pull up whatever I want off the shelf and pour it in a glass and walk back to my DJ station, you know. As well as all, you know, the hookups from smoking. I was a heavy weed smoker for the past 20 plus years. I'm talking about everyday weed smoker, you know, and not no swag or none of that stuff. Pretty much, you know, once I got introduced to, you know, high grade bud, that's just been what we've been doing. And when I say we, the people that I surrounded myself with, because to be honest, at that time, I didn't hang out with anybody who didn't smoke weed. That's like one of the first things I asked somebody when I met somebody. I was like, yo, you smoke? No? Pfft. All right, we're not going to mesh well. And not because I can't get along with you. It's just that you're just not going to be in the same space that I'm in, you know. And, you know, a lot of that comes at a cost, comes at a high price. You know, you limit yourself with the people you're around. You limit yourself in the mentality. You know, I was also very, very deep in music production and making music and writing songs with friends and other artists. And that lifestyle alone is just it has its benefits and it has its drawbacks. And I experienced both, you know, on many levels. I definitely had the opportunity to do some quote unquote major things or DJ for some major artists. I turned a lot of those opportunities down only because it just didn't seem like the right mix of people for me that I wanted to be around, or whatever the case may be, despite some of my friends having serious issues with me, not pursuing that further. But without having to get into all that, I was already living the lifestyle of a guy who, quote unquote, made it, so to speak. And what I mean is, like, how the people, reach that point where, their life is just one big nonstop party. And for the last many, many years, that's been my life. Now, COVID came and shut everything down. And that was probably one of the first times in my life, besides like moving to Vegas, and relocating to a different place where you kind of have to readjust to things, where I really got a chance to sit down and just do nothing for a good minute. Even my day job, of being a private contractor, everything came to a stop. The first few months of that was fun. It was fine. I needed a vacation from everything, So I got to catch up on movies and a lot of, some video games and stuff like that. Stuff that I just didn't really have the chance to indulge myself in as much as I, quote, thought I would, I got to do for the first few months. And even during the pandemic, even I couldn't go to the bar. I had bottles of liquor at the house, bottles of Douce. Douce was my thing. If it wasn't Hennessy, it was Douce. That was it. That's all I drank. The other part to that story is that I had a high tolerance for drinking. I was never a sloppy drunk. Actually, I'm turned off by sloppy drunks. And even girls, when I date girls, if I find out they're sloppy drunks, it completely turns me off to them. I mean, granted, I'll still date them and mess around behind closed doors with them, but I would never take them out in public, or I never would bring them to my job, just because, like, I'm not going to have you embarrass me because you're a sloppy drunk, or you have a few drinks and you want to throw up in the bathroom or something like that. I was very, very turned off by that. So I prided myself on being a heavy drinker. I can put a bottle away like it's nobody's business. And then also, let's add to that, driving home every single weekend drunk as a skunk for 15 plus years, and without fail. I mean, there was time, I live in upstate New York, but I also DJ'd in places outside. So I DJ'd in Massachusetts, and that was like an hour and a half trip from my house. And I used to do that every Thursday. I used to DJ basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for mad years, So that's 4 days out of a week of heavy drinking, heavy drug use, you name it, and top it off with, being with all these, crazy women on top of that, And at the time, like I said, man, I thought I was living a life. I really did. I just thought that this is what, this is what rappers do. This is what DJs do. This is that Hollywood life, without actually having to be there. And it didn't take long into the COVID thing for me to start realizing how detrimental that was for my health, for my safety. I always knocked on wood about never getting a DUI. I've never had a DUI once ever in my life. And when I tell you I've drunk, one time, I'll tell you this story. One time I was driving home from Massachusetts and I'm so drunk, right? I missed my exit and I woke up at a toll booth. I didn't even know what toll booth I was at. And there's no exits, there's no toll booths, before my exit. So I literally drove a few miles completely blacked out and woke up at a toll booth. And even then it didn't stop me or make me wake up and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? I went right back to work the next day and it was party all the time. So living that life for so long, being a heavy daily weed smoker for so long, and I didn't, and I want to put this out there too, because I don't ever want to compare myself to people who have addiction problems or alcoholics or whatever. I don't even like using that word, but I don't want to compare because I didn't have an addiction problem and I wasn't an alcoholic or I wasn't a weedaholic or anything like that. It's just that the lifestyle that I was living, I was able to do in excess. Having this lockdown thing happen kind of started to break me away from those people I was surrounded around. And you got to understand, this is damn near everyone I'm working with, everyone I'm hanging out with, they all share the same lifestyle as I do. Some may not smoke weed, but the life of access, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't around people who were like, hey man, you know, slow down or slow up or anything like that, you know? And even with my day job, I work with one of my best friends for 25 plus years, 30 years, you know what I'm saying? So, and we're the boss. There's no boss, you know, so there was no going to work in the morning. Like there's many times I go to work hungover and stuff. There was no, hey man, you need to get your stuff together or you're out of here. There was none of that. So my life was set up for me to be sort of very reckless. Come December, I ended up, you know, I'm not going to say COVID because I tested negative for it, but I ended up catching some sort of upper respiratory, whatever the side effect that COVID came with, you know, along with it all its general symptoms. You know, I ended up having some sort of upper respiratory situation. And it was bad, you know, for a few days. It was really bad, and bad enough to the point where I actually had to stop smoking for about 3 to 4 days. And it was hard. That 3 to 4 days was definitely hard to do. But because I was having such significant chest pains and I already had a heart condition, you know, it was one of those things where, hey, jackass, you may want to just chill with all the extra shit. And I did. And after the 4 days, and believe me, I was not looking forward to it. I was trying to sneak ways around to smoke, and I even brought a bong, and I was like, all right, well, maybe I won't smoke a blunt. I'll just put like a little bit of weed in the bong and just take a little hit, and that would just send my chest into hell. And I would have all these pains and all this stuff. And I mean, like serious, like it felt like I was having a heart attack. Not a panic attack, but it would feel like, you know, my heart was literally jumping out of my chest. So for a guy who smokes a blunt before he goes to bed, smoke a blunt when he wakes up in the morning and stuff like that, you know, it was hard. I was not looking forward to those first 4 days. And anybody who smokes religiously knows what I'm talking about. People who don't smoke, I'm sure I sound crazy. But this is just some of the things that we deal with. Now, not all weed smokers are the same, but like I said, I've been a heavy weed smoker for 20 plus years. You know, so for me, it was a serious situation. You know, also, you know, in that time, I was weaning myself off drinking because I wasn't going to the club as much. So I stopped buying bottles. You know, then I ended up buying wine. You know, and I would drink a little wine in the house versus than you know, drinking hard liquor and stuff like that. Needless to say, from late May, June until December, I've completely weaned myself off of what I was doing when I was in the club, when I was, you know, when everything was open. So now we get to this point where I don't drink at all. I don't smoke at all. I don't do anything. No ski trips, no nothing. I don't do anything at all. And I still have the same amount, because I hear a lot of people who say when they quit drinking or they quit smoking weed, like they're so scared that they're not going to have the fun they used to have. If anything, I have more fun now than I did then. And it's crazy to even say that because I know the type of lifestyle I was living pre-pandemic. And I have to credit that to riding electric unicycles. Mainly because it has given my brain something else to completely obsess over, and the feeling that I get when I get on that unicycle, because I like a little fear, I like a little danger, I like a little excitement in my life. The timing of everything, it's just been perfect for me, and I don't take that for granted. All you guys who comment, who subscribe, who chime in, I don't take any of that stuff for granted, because literally you guys have replaced, in every sense of the word, the lifestyle I used to live previous to electric unicycles. There's so many benefits that came from jumping into this world, and also just the way that you guys embraced me, because I would like you Stride and Is There Any Food? These are people that I watched tons of their videos, that they now comment on my shit like we're homies. So like to have these people like who have huge fucking channels, who've been up there many times, but don't think that they're better or too good to comment or show a smaller channel love, even though there are some people out there that are like that. I'm not going to say your name because you know who you are. Mr. If I was in Hollywood, people have too much access to me. And you know who you are. I don't have to mention your name. But there's that means a lot to me, because I know you don't have to. I know you don't have to do any of that stuff. So the fact that you guys are taking the time to, encourage a new writer or a new channel or new, like that I always appreciate that, and I would never ever shit on that. If 2 years, 3 years from now my channel becomes huge, I will still never shit on up and coming channels or up and coming writers or whatever the case may be, or never act like I'm too big to reach out or show support, because that's hoe shit and I'm not a hoe. Yeah, man. So I thank you guys for rocking out with me. Thank you guys for the support. I know this is different from a lot of my episodes, but I figured, I could, be a little bit more transparent, and talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. And that's what, this electric unicycle and the community has done to help me change, a definitely super destructive lifestyle that I was living, which I thought was super cool, but still very destructive and not good for me at all, So thanks for rocking out. Let's get into these shout outs real quick and I'll get out of here. The Sly Giraffe EV. Let's sample this. JP Valentine. ICJ. Electric Unicycle Slider Gliders. Spinning My Wheel. Hammy Hamster. EUC Vibes. Is There Any Food? Lilac DuPont. Antone V. Eichmann AV. Simon. ADHD in 3D. Wilson. Sensei Vegan. Bunny Slippers. CT Fam. Shane Doherty. Track Crash Beats. One Wheel, One Life, U-Stride, Real Talk, Ottawa Wheel EUC, It's Been Repaired, HyperX Alloy FPC, Deuce Allen, John Henson Doc, Andy L, Dave, Lazy Rider, Big Pete Bear, Scott Sum, The Token Survivor, Joe Flow Ambient Shop, Pop Culture is Dead, and Rainbow Scarface. Big shout out to you guys. Thanks for the support. And anybody I missed, I'll catch you on the next one. You guys have a great week. See you soon. Peace.